Hi everyone. I really enjoyed the readings this week, but I don't know that I can really, in 3 to 5 minutes, do justice to all the thoughts that I have regarding them. I think when we talk about the definitions of social justice and we looked at the roots starting with Plato, I'm sure there were conversations like this happening all over the world, yet we have the information and we're reading about what happened in Western Europe and Greece. So I thought about that first of all, because we give so much credit to so many things that we read about that started there, but I know it was going on all over the world, so that was just one thing I thought about. Also, in terms of justice, when these conversations were going on, there were so many people that were dehumanized and considered property. It was really only a conversation about justice for a few. And I think that's reflected in our laws and reflected in the oppression of certain people. So we can talk about justice, but even when social justice was given credit, the term was given credit from the Jesuit priests, that was only 2 years after the flagship Jesuit institution, Georgetown University, had sold 272 slaves down to Louisiana in order to remain solvent. So we're having these conversations, but we have these whole populations that are being left out. And the Georgetown example is very interesting because now there are groups of people that are trying to get reparations from the university. These slaves had built the university, and they were technically almost insolvent. So they not only built it, but they saved them by the revenue that they earned. Now Georgetown has a large endowment. I'm sorry. And Georgetown is apologizing. They've named 2 buildings after the descendants, and they've given special admissions consideration to the descendants, but they're not doing anything else. And I think that's the problem with so many of the laws and so many of the advances that we've made. We can show, there were a lot of statistics in Brown showing progress from some of these laws, but it really doesn't make up for what was lost from these populations and how we go about making amends. And then, and also, I loved Kenneth Howell's concept of distributive and combination of social justice, because you can't just redistribute things or make things more fair if you don't address the root causes of the problem. And I thought there were some really interesting things about the Brown versus Board of Education decision, and when he was talking about how we just really can't maintain the status quo, that some of these laws, when those kids were sent into those all-white schools, there were so many things that happened that further stigmatized and demoralized them, and they were put in this situation of, yes, I'm in this white school, but there was really nothing equal about this, and they had to fight even harder. So I wonder if in desegregation we had approached things differently, if we would be in a better position today. Like, I know there's value in all women's institutions, there's value in HBCUs and other places where people can feel safe and feel able to thrive in areas where they have the resources and they have the encouragement. So I don't know if just going right into Brown versus Board was the best way to do that. And that just brings us to the point of what is the best way. So how do we have a common definition of what we're doing? What is the common good? How do we get there? And how do we try to correct some of the wrongs that have been done? And I don't have all the answers there. I want to know more about that and what your thoughts are, and also how that can translate into the classroom. Thanks for listening.